Hi there, Andy Modeler back with another model aircraft video. If you have in the past watched any of my previous videos, you'll realise that they normally start showing a model aircraft plan and then the topic of the video goes on from there. Well, I realised that this might have put out the idea that I am against ARTF model aircraft. And that's not the case. I have no objection whatsoever with any form of ARTF model aircraft. Okay, the exception being the modelers who insist on flying electric powered ARTF model aircraft, and you know, they've sold their soul to the devil to do this, and I think that they should all be burned at the stake. Okay, I'm joking. Okay, I am joking. Alright, very many of my model aircraft flying buddies fly electric, and I still talk to them. The sky out there is a very big place, and I'm sure that if God did not intend there to be electric model aircraft, he would not have allowed man to invent either Depron or Elapor. Alright, that aside, in previous videos I've mentioned that I've been flying radio control since the very early 80s, predominantly from kits in my early years, and then from plans fairly recently and right up to present day. I got into the ARTF scene probably relatively late compared to many others. I bought my first one back in 2008. It was again from the Black Horse company. It was the Speed-air, and the reason I bought that model was because I thought that it resembled very closely a kit that I had built back in the 80s from the Pilot company. Sadly, again, no longer in production. The Pilot company. It was the Pilot Attacker. I actually built two of those kits. I thought it was so good, and then probably in 2009 I bought from the Seagull company, the Seagull 40, another tricycle undercarriage model, very nice. In 2010, moving on quickly, from Western UK, I bought the Mini Hype and fitted it out as they said with the West 36 and mini tune pipe, and the high torque digital servos. And then my last ARTF prior to this one was probably back in 2012. It was again from the Seagull company, the Seagull Pilatus PC9, which I still own and fly. Now, there's no getting away from it that to get yourself a model aircraft in the air quite quickly, the ARTF route is probably your best bet. And so, like I say, I treated myself to this model. It arrived within the last week, and here's the invoice. Okay, I live in Greece, and I bought this actually from Sussex Model Centre to show that I didn't steal it or nick it. £85.50 for the model. Now, a quick tip, actually, if you do order from a company and your package is going to come long distance. For me personally, I've ordered from Sussex Model Centre in the past, and I've had no problems to date. But I do now, when I order, I speak to somebody on the end of a phone to find out that they have everything that I want to order. Because in the past, once I ordered, I think it was a kit, some other bits and pieces, and the smallest item that I just didn't really need wasn't available, and I'd ordered that via an email, and so that did hold up the whole order, the whole box. It was quite late. But that aside, yeah, it's an excellent company to order from, very, very helpful. Right, we'll crack the box open now. ARTF model aircraft, they're a bit similar to having a Chinese takeaway. After you've had half a dozen Chinese takeaways, you know what you're going to get. Okay, and it's the same with ARTF planes. All right, that's the fuselage. Superbly put together and covered. I've been, like I said, I've been building model aircraft for quite a number of years now, very many years, and I'd be hard pushed to get something up and covered and looking like this. I'm not going to take it out of the bag because I'm not going to build it as yet, and they say keep the parts in the bag until you are going to use them. Okay, I'll take the fin out, sorry, the stabilizer. Alright, just to show you the stabilizer, okay, and elevator. Fairy hinges, alright, all in the instructions. It tells you all what to do. You know, drop of CA glue to lock the hinges in. There's the fin, okay. The wings, you get two halves of the wings. they are actually joined. You don't actually glue them; they're just joined together with an aluminium tube. We'll see that in a minute. Okay. The other wing half. The ailerons are actually built up super light, absolutely fantastic. All right. If I was given £85.50 and said, "Oh, get myself, I'd like to have a model aircraft built with that money," I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it for the price. Okay, the other excellent thing that you do get with an ARTF plane is you get all the extras. Okay, pilot, tank, wheels, everything that would cost you more if you were to go and build a model aircraft like this from a plan. Okay, and you do also get the mount that's to go on the front of the engine if you are going to insist on flying electric. I think what I'll probably do with this, and that's a nice bit of plywood and box, I'll probably varnish that and make that a mount for a proper glow engine to go on my mantelpiece. That's probably going to be the best use for that bit of wood, actually. Yeah. All right. And there's the aluminium tube that goes through the fuselage and holds the wing on either end. Okay, the other thing that I bought at the same time, for experienced modelers are going to know this, but this probably for the more inexperienced or somebody who's wanting to just start out in the ARTF route. Okay, at the same time, from Sussex Model Centre, I bought myself 4 new servos. Okay, you don't have to go too crazy on the power. These are not digital or high torque, these are standard servos. With a model like this, that is fine. You get all the fixtures and the grommets and the servo arms with that. Okay. I also fly Spectrum these days, and I bought myself a new receiver. Okay, that's a 6-channel full range Spectrum, their own. It's not a clone, their own Spectrum's own receiver. Okay, other bits and pieces that you might not at first know that you're going to need. Extension leads, the servos, when they go into the wing, you need some servo extension leads to then reach the receiver. A battery. Now, life is full of choices. I actually got this battery from Sussex Model Centre. It's a 4.8 volt, but I also then bought, okay, this is a 6 volt battery. Okay, it's 5 cell, 6 volt, and so I'm undecided. I'll probably use this one actually. A new switch. Whenever I buy a new model, I always put a new switch in. The other bits and pieces that you're going to need. Okay, even though it's only 4 channels that you're going to need for this model, you're going to need 5 servos. I actually had another 5th servo, this one here, another brand new high-tech, I'm going to use for the throttle. Okay, because you need 1 servo in either wing panel for the aileron. Okay, other bits and pieces that you're going to need. You're going to need, if you don't want to mess about with flap mixing, okay, aileron turning into flap mixing, then a Y cable into the receiver and one of those leads either left and right. It doesn't really matter if you swap them around, it's the same to go for the aileron servos. And the other thing, you're also going to need some fuel tubing. I've got that in Greece. The other thing that's handy to do, okay, is I didn't buy myself a voltmeter that goes into the side of the model that you can see the battery can light up some lights. What I have done is, in all my previous models, is I put from a spare channel from the receiver just a small length of extension cable, and the socket I mount into the side. I'll do that on this model as well. I mount that onto the side of the model, okay, and I've made up just with a multimeter, a digital multimeter. I've put the standard servo JR Futaba cable extension, and then that will just go in and you put it to 20 volts DC, okay, and then whenever you turn the model switch, or the switch on the side of the model, on, okay, you can move all the controls around and you get an on-load volt reading, because when you have the SPI lights when they light up, going from green down through orange to red. That doesn't actually tell you the exact voltage where this does. This has actually saved me from losing a model in the past. Okay, you only have to save yourself one model, and it's this now is its only job is to measure the volts of the battery in-flight power on the battery. Okay, the other couple of quick things is that in a past model magazine, that was in 2005, June 2005, you can get yourself reading through a past review. So this model, it's been out at least 5 years, because this was from, like I say, 2005. I actually bought the model before I read the review for a second time. But like I say, you know, after you've had 4 or 5 model aircraft, even from different companies, you know what you're going to get. It's of the same kind of theme. One of the last things I'd like to say is on the instruction manual. Now, in other videos that I've seen on YouTube, there have been a bit of controversy over the build sequence. If like me, when I was a young kid, I used to build Airfix model aircraft, and then you had to start at page 1, diagram 1, and work through, and you couldn't deviate from the build order to get yourself an Airfix model kit, static model that looked like the picture on the box. All right, where for me, I think that there are 4 main build processes to putting a model ARTF up and running. Okay, not in any specific order now. There are the wings, whatever entailed getting the wings finished, the servos, the wheels, the aileron linkage. Okay, that is one build sequence. The engine and the tank and the plumbing installation and whatever it necessitates getting the engine into the aircraft. That's another build sequence. The tail end feathers, getting the fin and the rudder and stabilizer and everything hooked up at the back. That's a third one, and then the fourth one for me is the servo and radio gear installation. Well, the instruction manual on most ARTF planes, on all ARTF planes, they show you exactly what you have to do, but sometimes they show it in an order that maybe not the easiest for the builder, and so the way that I do it, I don't deviate from what you have to do, but I deviate from the route that they tell you to do. Okay, in the instruction manuals, it actually states to put the engine and the tank on an unfinished fuselage. Well, that's just asking for trouble. Some people say that, okay, you could always fit the engine and then take it back off when you do the other work, but why do work twice for yourself? But if you were going to fit an engine onto an unfinished fuselage, that's just asking to fall off a workbench, or who wants that weight on the front when you're trying to work on the delicate tail end? So it's entirely up to you how you build your model, but I would suggest that the wing, that's going to be a separate entity. You can do the wing, whatever you want to do with the wing, that's separate to the fuselage build. I would suggest that you do the tail end first. Okay, glue the fin and the stabilizer on and get all the hinges all ready and up and ready for the next section. All right, then do the radio gear installation for all the 2 controls at the back, and then put the engine and the tank in, even if it means having to take something back out from the radio gear section. That's the way that I do it, because if you have the wing and the fuselage standing on a bench, it's so much easier to then work on the engine and the tank. Okay, working on the engine, should I say. The tank is probably already inside the fuselage. You've already done that. And the other thing is that the last thing is it states it says, and not just this instruction manual, other companies that supply ARTF planes, it always states to use epoxy glue to glue the fin and the stabilizer in place. Now, uh, the idea of using epoxy glue on a wood joint to me is a bit nonsensical, because you know, it would be like high quality musical instruments. I don't think that guitars and violins and certainly other wooden musical high quality instruments are glued together with epoxy glue. I think that they are glued together with a high quality wood glue. Now my personal wood glue of choice is aliphatic glue, because the glue is not going to add any strength to the part. Let's be honest, all we're doing really is we're wanting the parts to just stay on and be held onto the fuselage. In over 35 years of model flying, have never heard anybody after a crash, be it myself crashing my own models or somebody else in the UK and in Greece, nobody has ever said, the fin, it came unglued in flight, or the stabilizer, yeah, I saw it, it came unglued in flight. That's not going to happen. Epoxy glue will not add any strength, and to my mind won't wick into the wood, it won't seep into the wood. Aliphatic glue or another dedicated wood glue is probably superior, and also you get away then from the sticky finger marks that is very difficult if you're using epoxy glue not to get onto the model. That's my own personal choice. You know, it's entirely up to you what you glue your model together with. I'm just showing, or trying to say a better and perhaps easier way. That's it, I think. Well, thank you for watching the video.